Hey guys, guess what we're doing today? Yep, we're adding weights into our yoga practice. So if you don't have weights, don't worry about it. You can do the whole thing without them, but you're really going to enjoy using them today. So whether or not you're using weights, I do want to make sure to remind you to modify these poses that we're taking to suit your body for its needs today, okay? So there's no point in trying to put yourself into a move that doesn't feel good. It needs to feel good. It will feel good. Just do what your body needs you to do today. So with that, let's go ahead and step back onto our mats. You should have the short end of your mat facing me, and we're going to place our weights at that top end of our mat. So for our warm-up, we don't need them, but as always, we will come into our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So, wiggling our toes, rocking back and forth on our heels, and the pads of our feet, we're going to find our connection to the ground. Our ankles, our knees, and our hips are all in alignment. We are lifting through the pelvic floor, engaging our core muscles. Our spine is nice and tall and long. Our shoulders are back and down. So let's go ahead and just start at the top with a little bit of neck warm up here. So just go ahead and drop to one side and the other, nice and gently. We're not trying to get the ear to touch the shoulder. And coming back to center, let's come down and up. And back to center, let's do a little right and left. Now we're not trying to stretch all the way over to the shoulder again, just keeping this nice and gentle. And let's roll the shoulders back and down now. Let's get them warmed up too. And let's reverse it. Now let's go ahead and bring our arms up to our sides and spread our wings, lifting our chest, taking a nice deep breath. Now bringing our arms closed to the front, stretching out across our back. And let's just do this a few times. And coming back to center, let's bring our arms up to extended mountain. Exhale to chair. Let's come back up again. Exhale to chair. Now on this next one, let's come into chair, but let's go ahead and add a little twist here. So coming to the center, let's twist to one side, coming back up to our extended mountain, and now twist to the opposite side. Okay, coming back up to mountain and releasing our arms down to our sides. So we should be nice and warm now. So we're going to move into our sun salutation with those weights, okay? So coming to the top of your mat, again, finding your base, your posture. Let's inhale, arms extended above our heads. Exhaling, hinging at the hips, swan dive, forward fold. Micro bend in our knees. Let's go ahead and take our weights in our hands. We're going to come up halfway with a flat back and take a little pull right here with those weights. And back down again, back into our forward fold. Now your weights are at the sides of your toes, and if you're not using weights, of course, starfish fingers to the sides of those toes. We're going to go ahead and step back with the right foot into our runner's lunge. We can stay here in our runner's lunge, or we can choose to drop our knee and our toe as we come into crescent, lifting those weights up above our head. And now very slowly and confidently, we're bringing those weights back down to the mat. If we're not already up on off our knee, let's go ahead and come back up off of our knee. We're going to take that left leg, step it back into downward facing dog, and go ahead and pedal a little bit here. Walk that dog.
Now from here, we're going to come into plank or tabletop, practitioner's choice. And we're going to take that little chaturanga press here. Coming back up. We are not going to go into cobra today. So just coming right back into our downward facing dog. Let's take that right leg, step it up to the top of the mat in our lunge. Take the left leg up to join the right in forward fold. This time we're going to reverse that swan dive with our weights in our hands as we come up to extended mountain. And then bring the weights forward as we come to chair. Now back to mountain with our arms down at our sides. Let's inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Come up halfway with a flat back. Go ahead and pull back here and back down to our mat in forward fold. This time we're going to be stepping back with the left leg into our runner's lunge, down or up as we press up off of that mat into crescent. Slowly, carefully bringing those weights forward. We'll bring them back down to the mat, taking our right leg, stepping it back to meet the left in downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk it out. Now coming back into tabletop or plank, let's take our nice controlled press here, and then back into downward facing dog. Take that left leg up to the top of our mat in our runner's lunge. Have the right leg join the left in forward fold. Nice grip on our weights as we reverse our swan dive to extended mountain. Exhale to chair. Now coming back to mountain with our arms at our sides. We're going to inhale to extended mountain. Exhale. Hands back down to our sides. With our right leg, we're going to step back into warrior one. So stepping all the way down the length of our mat. We will be lifting our arms up overhead. Our back heel is down for warrior one. Now pressing back with cactus arms. Make sure our hips are pointed towards the short end of our mat. Arms come back up overhead. And bringing our arms down in front. And then down to our sides. Let's come to humble warrior. Turning our palms so that they are face up. Let's just take 4 nice presses here. Now, bringing our arms back up into warrior one. Let's shift our weight so that we're facing our hips to the long end of our mat as we come into warrior two. Now turning our front foot so that we are facing the long end of our mat. Go ahead and bring our hands down in front of us. We're going to take some nice wide-legged pliés in this position using that extra little bit of weight we're carrying here. So coming all the way back up, we'll go ahead and come down into our squat and pressing up all the way through those inner thighs and those glutes. We're trying to really activate those inner thighs with this pose here. So just one more time. You'd be surprised at how much this little bit of extra weight actually does for you. So let's go ahead and come back into our squat or plie. And let's go ahead and lift one heel off the ground. Getting a little more activation in the lower leg here doing this. Now you can stay here for 4 more, or if you'd like, you can go ahead and lift off of both of them at the same time. A little more of a challenge. Now both feet back down on the mat, coming back up to straight leg. Let's go ahead and turn our feet so we can come back into warrior two. And now turning our back foot, let's come to warrior one as we turn our hips to the short end of our mat. Bringing our hands to heart center, let's step back up to the top of our mat in mountain. We're going to repeat this on the opposite side. So let's inhale, arms up, extended mountain, exhale, hands back to heart center. Stepping back with the left leg into warrior one. Arms up overhead. Let's bring them back to cactus arms. And back up overhead, slowly down to the front and our sides as we come into humble warrior. Taking 4 presses here. Now I'm going to be facing away from you, but you know what to do. Bring our arms back up overhead into warrior 1. Let's shift our feet, turn our hips to the long length as we come into warrior 2. Now, coming back up out of warrior 2, let's turn our feet to face the long end of our mat. Bring our arms down. And let's go ahead and take 4 nice deep plies, pulling up through those inner thighs and glutes. Now coming back into that plie, let's go ahead and lift one of our heels. We'll do these 4. And then 4 more, same way, or if you'd like, come up with both heels off the mat at the same time. Now let's come all the way up out of that pose, turning our feet as we come back into warrior 2 and turning our hips to the short end of our mat as we come into warrior 1. Arms above our head. Bring our arms back to heart center as we step up into mountain. So let's bring our arms up, extended mountain. Exhale, swan dive, hinging at the waist. Forward fold. We're going to leave our weights on our mat as we come back up and reverse that swan dive to extended mountain. Exhaling, hands to heart center. So let's take our right leg. We're going to step it halfway down the length of our mat as we come into triangle. Triangle is going to prepare us for half moon. We haven't done half moon yet, so this will be fun. So both of my legs are straight. My hips are facing the short end of the mat. And again, we're only halfway down the length of the mat with this. So we will inhale nice and deep. Exhaling, forward folding at the waist. Keeping our hips towards the short end of our mat, trying not to let our bodies open up to the side. So from here, let's go ahead and bend that front knee. And taking our hands to our weights. Now, our weights are going to need to come. We're lifted, by the way, we're going to lift our weight off that back foot there. Our weights are going to have to come to the far corners of our mat. And be sure that if you have a flat edge on your weight to keep them from not rolling, you want to make sure you're on that not rolling part there. So, with our hands on our weights, or our hands on the floor, or our hands on blocks if we would like to use blocks today, let's go ahead and lift that back leg up off the mat, straightening our front leg. Now we can stay right here if we want. If this is too much, we can go ahead and keep that back leg down. But I encourage you to give this a try. You want to go a little bit further with this. Go ahead and lift that front hand off the mat. Maybe even opening your hips to the long side of your mat. And even letting go in half moon. Now bringing our hand back to our hip, turning our hips in, both hands to the mat, dropping that leg back into forward fold, leaving our weights on the ground. Let's inhale, come up to extended mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's take half moon on the opposite side. So inhaling, exhaling, hands to heart center. Stepping back with the left foot halfway down our mat into our triangle. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhaling, forward fold. So go ahead and bend that front leg. Taking your hands to your weights that are, again, just outside your mat, front corners. Lifting the weight off that back leg. We come into half moon. Now I'm going to hang on to both of my weights this time. Bringing that one leg weight up to my hip, for a little extra challenge, opening my hips and taking that top arm up to the sky. Now bringing my hand back down. Let's turn our hips, both hands back down to the mat. Go ahead and bring that leg back down, bending our knees here. And let's reverse swan dive, inhaling, extended mountain. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, extended mountain. Exhaling, swan dive, forward fold. Go ahead and leave your weights where they are right now. Just starfish hands to the sides of our toes. We're going to step back into downward facing dog. Take a little plank here. Back to downward facing dog. Dropping our knees to table and child's pose. Now coming back up to table, we're going to do a little bit of a cat-cow and a cat-cow modification. So, cat-cow, we are going to roll our shoulders back and down as we curve our backs and look forward in cow. And then come into cat by lifting through our belly. Nice curve to the spine here. Inhaling into cow. Exhaling to cat. One more time here. Now come to neutral spine. So, we are going to take one knee and we are going to tuck that knee on our cat. And then come back down into cow. Now, as you notice me doing this right now, you don't really see my spine doing a whole lot, okay? This is not what we want to do. We want to continue to bring that cat curl all the way in as that knee comes up to our nose. Okay? So let's go ahead and do a few of these. Now, if you want to take it a little farther, we can go ahead and take this to plank. So coming up into plank, we'll take knee to nose, back to plank, but looking forward, not curving the back. Let's do a few more of these. And now let's drop back down into our tabletop and into child's pose. So coming back to tabletop, let's go ahead and bring those weights back onto our mat. We're going to turn our left leg to the side of our mat so we can come up into gate. So from here, supporting ourselves with our leg right underneath our body, go ahead and take our free arm and come straight up to the ceiling with this weight. And let's do 4 of these. Let's do one more. And on this last one, let's hold it up top. Carefully and in control, we're going to bring it down to our hip. Now we're going to reverse our gait by lifting our lower arm and bringing it up overhead. Now bringing that arm back down to our side, again, in control. Let's go ahead and take our gait on the opposite side by switching our feet. Right knee underneath. Go ahead and take our free arm and lift up to the ceiling.
And let's take this last one all the way up and hold it up top. Now, bring it slowly down to our side. Let's go ahead and lift our other weight up above our head. And bringing it back down to our opposite side. So from here, let's go ahead and turn over into bridge. So for bridge, our feet are tucked nice and close to our body. Now, we can do bridge with no weight at all. We can take one weight in both hands, holding it to our pelvis as we lift up into bridge. Or if we like a little extra today, take both weights, one in each hand right there at the hinge. And let's go ahead and lift up into bridge. And let's go ahead and take 4 lifts here. And as you lift, be conscious of the muscles that you're engaging. Really feel them tightening up. And let's come up one more time. Let's maintain this pose for just a few seconds. And now carefully coming back down to the mat. We can go ahead and set the weights aside. Taking our toes and our heels together, let's go ahead and come into supine bound angle, what we all know as butterfly. And let's just hang out here for a few seconds, enjoying the stretch. Now bringing one knee over to the other, let's go ahead and come to our side and come up on our mats into our comfortable hero pose. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Hands back to heart center. Taking our arms and crossing them in front of us in what I call genie arms. Let's go ahead and stretch through the back of our body one more time. And now let's take those genie arms behind our back. Opening up our chest one more time. Maybe one side feels different than the other. It might be nice to switch arms back there. And then bring them back around to the front one more time. Inhaling, arms extended overhead. Exhaling, arms back down to our sides. Let's go ahead and take one last little forward fold here. A fold of gratitude for us being able to have this little practice today. Peace, guys.